Good morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and I am back. Man, took a couple of days off, got sick, which doesn't that seem to be how it is? You know, you don't take any time off. You got all the stress. You take a few days off, and while you're taking some days off, you get sick. Came back. Thought I was doing better, and then went downhill, but I've recovered. Finally, yeah, man, it was nasty. It lasted about a week. I got it. I took Friday off. This is going back. This is before 4th of July. And then didn't feel well Saturday. And really took until this Saturday before I started feeling better again, but Jason, as always, doing a great job filling in, and I appreciate that. But I'm back. I'm feeling much better. So the hammer that was bashing in the back of my head is now gone, and life goes on here. 800-951-0592. AllAmericanGold.com is the website. I'm probably not going to need to be retrained. It feels like I haven't done a radio show in forever. So hold on. Who knows what's going to come out of my mouth today? It's a weird week here in the middle of July. You know, this is the heart of vacation season, and you know it's really hard. Well, these COVID variants, and you know, you got doctors on CNN telling we need mandatory vaccinations. Pfizer, as we speak, is talking with the government and the CDC about needing booster shots, and yet everybody's out there. I don't know what's really what do you believe? What do you not believe? Who knows? Everyone's lost their mind. That's all I know, especially the no inflationary people. Got a lot of Jay Powell's going to be testifying in front of Congress this week. That's a 2-day event on Wednesday and Thursday. This isn't a Fed meeting. This is just Jay Powell coming up. And, it'll be the usual. Everybody will congratulate themselves and thank Jay Powell and blah, 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 grandstand. And we'll actually learn absolutely nothing. But it'll be interesting to see if anybody really starts pressing him on inflation. We got a great show lined up for you today, especially on the inflation front. And I just want to remind everybody, when they created this baseline inflation number, 2%, this is 12, 13 years ago. I told you then, 2% was just the entry level number. And that there was no way that number would hold, but don't worry, when it finally didn't, they would give you reasons why it was okay. Well, here we are, right? 2% doesn't matter because they need more. Let's face it. Without inflation, which is really devaluation, the whole house of cards, the whole debt house of cards comes falling down. So in the next part of the show, we're going to talk about the latest survey from the New York Federal Reserve. And we'll also talk about what does it cost to ship a 40-foot container. What does it cost to ship a 40-foot container? I'm going to tell you. And here's what's funny. They talk about supply bottlenecks, and bottleneck implies that hey, we can't make it, there's not enough chips, and there's not enough now there's not enough coffee, there's not enough rubber, there's not enough this, that, the other. You would think these cargo ships would be empty if there wasn't enough, but yet they're jam-packed. So got a great one lined up for you, but I want you to think about it. What do you think it cost? One 40-foot container from China to L.A. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to say Shanghai, but that's not the port. Whatever the Chinese port to Los Angeles. What does it cost? And I'll give you cost to Europe and everything else. It's incredible. They're sitting there telling us, "Don't worry, all of it's just transitory. Of course, we all know better. By the way, I have to be, while I was sick, we've added another product to the My Kind brand. The bath salts are out. They're on the website. We have another product. We've got a rejuvenation cream coming. That is coming in the next week or two. So we're going to have another product. Listen, they're going to keep adding here. But I have the bath salts. I've used it. Well, I did use it, but my wife is the one that she loves it. Now listen, it's not. It's expensive when you think about a bath salt. I think it's like $69.95, and it's an expensive product. 4,000 milligrams. So this is by far the most potency. But let me break it down for you. You know, they got this little scooper, you know, in the package, and this is, and I don't know how many baths people take. You know, for me, this would be like, I don't know, like a 2-year supply. But in talking to the expert, which is my wife, she's a big bath person. Some people are bath people. Some people are shower people. She's a bath person. She thinks that it works out to about $3 a bath. So there you go. So you'll have it. It really is it smells great. It works great. Just another great addition to the lineup. And, of course, all of those things support the radio station. 1360 KHNC, hit the shopping cart button and get your CBD today. Today, we'll be back. What did the New York Fed say about inflation? 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. You know, my oldest is going to be in town in a couple of weeks. I'm going to have him on. Believe it or not, yes, I think I've got my first financially independent child. Yes, let me tell you, I'm super stoked about it. Now, don't get me wrong. Still going to pay his cell phone bill because he's on the plan. You know, it doesn't cost us any more or less to have him. But yeah, he is also my financial advisor. So I'm going to have him on. You guys can get to meet him. He works for Northwestern Mutual and is absolutely kicking butt. But we're excited to have him. You know, when they get old and they move out, you know, you don't get to see him too often. So he's going to be in town for about a week. Then he's got to go back, and he's still got one more year of college to go. And yet he works full time. I mean, it's incredible. Couldn't be more proud. My wife did a great job. She really did. Both of our kids. I really had all the bad things probably came from me, but. So my wife is happy about that, which makes me happy. You know, we have a hot tub at our house. And, you know, kind of doesn't make a lot of sense in the summertime because it's 1,000,000 degrees. But it's been broken. And this part that we needed, this sensor, it was on back order. Part of the, you know, all the things you can't get. And it finally came. And now the hot tub works. Well, you know, now that it works, you got to use it. And so last night, for the first time since it's been broke, we turned it on. You know, I know it's 100 and something degrees outside, but we turned it on. We got in it for about 5 seconds. It was just way too hot. And then, you know, you jump in the pool. And everybody know in Arizona, if you have a hot tub and pool, you know, you jump in the pool to get refreshed because it's on. So hot, you jump in the pool, and it's so much cool. I swear our pool's got to be in the 90s. I mean, I jumped right from the hot tub into the pool. Yeah. It was hot. That's how hot it's been. It's been absolutely crazy hot. I mean, literally, the just going in, it's almost not refreshing at all. The pool. And I only bring it up because, you know, we're talking about water. And I know here in the West, we all know about water and the fact that, well, let me give you an example. Hoover Dam, down to 75% of production for electricity because there's not enough water in Lake Mead to generate the waters. You know, Powell and Mead are both in the low 30s right now as far as capacity goes. But is this what we can expect to happen? A long-standing battle between states over water rights. As an example, Arizona is going to learn a very hard lesson because the condition of Lake Powell, Lake Mead, next year, Arizona is going to lose about 25% of its water from the Colorado River. Now, we have, by all accounts, and it's kind of shocking, you know, because we live in a desert, but we have a really good reservoir system. You know, and anybody that lives here in the valley, Lake Pleasant, Saguaro, Roosevelt. I mean, we have a really good Bartlett, right? We've got a good system. We'll see how good it is. Right? That's the fear. How long can it last, especially with the amount of water we're going to be losing in the Colorado River? But they're saying that court battles are heating up now. And I think we're going to see this all over. But this one was shocking. It's the state of Mississippi against the city of Memphis in a court battle that says Mississippi is saying that Memphis is siphoning off water from Mississippi. They're stealing water. Remember the whole the Iraq-Kuwait war. Remember back in the 90s? That was a war about oil, and Saddam Hussein was saying, hey, listen, the Kuwaitis were diagonally drilling and tapping into Iraqi oil. I mean, that's kind of how the whole thing started. Well, now Mississippi is saying that Tennessee is doing the same thing, and they're saying they know they're doing it because of a substantial drop in pressure and corresponding drawdowns of stored water in the Sparta sand. Now, I don't know anything about the Sparta sand, but I'm assuming that's some type of, whether it's an underground reservoir or what have you. They're accusing Tennessee of stealing water at such a rapid rate that Mississippi must now drill wells substantially at greater depths, and et cetera, et cetera. So get ready. I think we're going to see that everywhere as this whole other, just all these things you pile up on one on top of the other. But yeah, so anyway, all I know is my pool's way too hot, and now I got a hot tub that works, and there's no point in using it. Hopefully this winter, though, me and my wife, we will be in that thing day in and day out. But I was talking about this part. That was a long way to get here. This part that took forever, months to get here. And I read about all of these cargo backups. Remember the Suez Canal? And that ship was blocking the way, and all these ships couldn't get through, and the amount of cargo at the ports in like L.A. and I mean we're shattering records. So it looks like there's cargo everywhere. There was saying like I know Jason and Steve Mitchell were talking about like Vietnam, which is now Vietnam is China light, right? Because they'll work for less than the Chinese now, right? So Vietnam, they're shutting down their ports because of COVID and all this other stuff. But if we can't get any of this, the chips for the cars, just today, rubber. Rubber may be the new problem for the automobile manufacturers. I guess, the rubber's out of sight and can't get it. Coffee. Apparently, Brazil had a bad harvest, and coffee prices are the next one. But we're seeing all of this stuff where they said that there's nothing available. And my wife complains all the time at the store about stuff being out, stuff that I don't notice. She's like, man, they've been out of this dog bone for 2 months now. They've been out of this type of cleaner that she likes to use for months now. And all these things, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And then I was thinking to myself, man, these cargo ships must be empty. Nothing to put on them, right? I mean, that's what we would believe. It's actually just the opposite. So what does it cost to ship a container? And we've all seen the pictures, right? These ships, these container ships, they're like the size of aircraft carriers, maybe bigger. And I'm guesstimating that the cargo containers, they're 40 feet long, by the way. So it's probably at least 10 containers across and 20 containers, a 10 by 20. And it may be, I may be underestimating. 10 by 20, and they're stacked at least 5 high. Right? So there's at least 1,000 containers on every one of these ships. Just jam-packed with stuff. They're now saying that to get a box load of goods to the United States from China, the price is just under $10,000 per container. So if you did the math, now if I'm right, and I may be off, I don't know. But if there was 1,000 containers on a cargo ship, that'd be $10 million for one shipment. Now that doesn't include, that's just to ship it. Right? That doesn't include the cost of whatever's in it. As the world's biggest economy, and we can argue that, but okay. The world's biggest economy vacuuming up imports amid slower recoveries from the pandemic from Europe to Asia. Now, what? No, okay. They're saying, hey, listen, we're recovering better. Which would, again, wouldn't that mean there's more stuff out there? But again, you got to play along. The spot rate. Okay, so we talk about like spot gold, right? Now, spot gold, $1,807 today. Right? The spot rate for a container from Shanghai to L.A. rose another 5% in a week to $9,631 per container. That is 229% higher than a year ago. So think about if you were paying for one of a year ago, it cost you like $4,000. Now it's going to cost you, almost $10,000. And the effect that has on prices, according to the World Container Index, it says that the composite index reflects trade routes. So the world, we got 8 major, which makes sense, right? 8 major routes. Up 333% from a year ago. And on these major routes, the average cost now $8,800, right? Because obviously costs more for us because we live, it's probably trip, right? How long's the trip? But they're saying for a container from Shanghai to Rotterdam, reached $12,795 this week, up 600% from a year ago. And you start thinking about, which one is it? Are we out of everything? Or is there so much crap out there? And again, I don't know. All as I know is this. They talk about, hey, this inflation stuff is transitory. This isn't no. Will the price come down? I hope. But according to this article, I didn't write the article. I didn't make it up. Brendan Murray, he's the guy that wrote the article from Bloomberg. He's saying, and again, actually China, they're saying China's been slowing. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because China came out of COVID first. Their economy is slowing down a little bit. Europe, well, they've never really come out of it. And now they're saying, hey, listen, and I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute. What happens if Europe starts rebounding? And look at, like, Japan, right? They closed it all down. These places reopen. China just cut rates, right? They're going to get their economy back. Sure looks like we're in for a lot more time. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Man, and I don't know. I don't have the answer. But this sure looks like things are going to get worse before they get better. Right? So China, who through all of this hasn't done stimulus, all of a sudden just started. Well, I don't know about something. They cut rates, and they lowered the amount that banks have to keep aside, right, to try to keep their economy going. And we already know China's the world's largest consumer of stuff. We can say we're the number one economy if you want to base it in dollars. That's fine for now, right? We know that's going to end soon. Europe still working through it. You look at like Canada, you look at Japan, right? You got a lot of these nations still, like Australia, back locking people down again. What happens when everybody's open? And of course, obviously, too, crude oil got cheap a year ago. So when you look at these, some of it is, right, they're saying, hey, listen, we got too much demand. There's a bunch of stuff. Apparently, the sensor for my hot tub was one of the things that was sitting on a dock somewhere that they didn't have room for. And again, all this does is adds to the cost. That's all. And the New York Federal Reserve, they do these surveys. I don't know who's on these surveys. I've always wanted to know. I've never actually been on. Of course, if I get a telemarketer call, I'm one of those guys. I just hang up on them. Hey, I'm sorry I don't have time right now. Thanks for calling, and click. And so maybe they have called me, and I just haven't been receptive. But they did this was a June survey, so they're releasing it now, about the consumer and their expectations for inflation. And I love how they say expectation. Listen, consumers, either there's inflation or there isn't. And when they see it, right, and they continually see it, right, then they know it's here. So they're we're asking about inflation, later. Over the next 12 months, hit 4.8% according to this survey. Now, here's what's important about this. Remember 2%. This was their great plan. And along with the mainstream media, the idiot box, as I like to call it, they all clapped about it. Oh, yeah. Bravo! Right? They got all excited about it. That was Ben Bernanke and Janet Yellen. This inflation target, See, they want you to believe that the Federal Reserve, with all of its tools in their toolkit, which is really all just one tool, debt, disguised and wrapped up in all kinds of different presentations, but it's still just one. It's the same tool. Said we have a target now for inflation of 2%. That's the goal. And everybody out, oh, what a great goal that is. Yeah! Without actually telling you what it really meant. What it really meant was, hey, if we hit this goal, and by the way, the goal we want to hit actually has nothing to do with inflation at all. It's some bullcrap number that we made up with our fancy little formulas. Doesn't actually even track inflation. And oh, by the way, we throw out food and energy. Okay? Why would you throw that out? Well, it's volatile. Well, volatile means up and down. And food, it does go up and down. I mean, I don't actually recall ever paying less for a combo meal at the fast food joint. But I'm sure it happens. Right? And I don't recall any of the restaurants lowering their prices. I mean, when I grew up, a Grand Slam at Denny's was 99 cents. True story. Then it was $1.99. Now it's like $8. And I'm guessing, I don't know, I don't go to Denny's, but pretty sure that's what it is. But anyhow, they call it volatile. I remember as a child, now this is funny how things have changed. Growing up as a kid, once you hit about 6 or 7 at my house, you were pumping the gas. My mom wasn't getting out of the car, especially in the winter in Syracuse. Joey, get your butt out there. I need $5. $5. $5. And it would fill our Chevy Malibu. $5. $5 today doesn't even get you 2 gallons of gas. I got to tell you this funny story. Just came to, we're in California, at our few days off there. My wife and I, because, my son is playing football at University of San Diego. And we were trying to find a gas station. And, we don't know what we're doing. And I'm I'm the worst. Because I'm like, we'll find one. Just keep driving. And my wife's like, we're going to run out of gas, dummy. Let me get on my phone and we pull in. And, they're all the same. You put your card in the pump thing. The card thing doesn't work. It's not reading the card. See the cashier. So my wife goes in, and I'm just assuming, okay, they're running it there. She comes back out, bless her heart. And she goes, they were down. The machine was, which, again, wait for one of these hacks here and you can't use your debit and credit cards. Oh, my gosh, people won't know what to do. So my wife says, I didn't know how much to put in, so I said, here, put in $30. And I started laughing. I owe $30. And this is California. The gas was $4.65 a gallon. She's got a 20-gallon tank. Oh, I said, well, here's the good news, honey. We're not going to run out of gas right now. But in about another hour and a half, we're going to have to pull over again and get some more gas. Patriot Radio News Hour. I know, I told you, I got to get retrained. I'm all over the place. Yes, see, so we exclude the food and the energy. How many people out there? Show of hands. Yes, we're on the radio, and no one can see it. How many people's electric bill has gotten cheaper? Water bill? trash. I mean, yes, what it costs to fill up a gas tank does vary, right? A year ago, gas was like what, $2.20? Now it's like $3.20 here. California, $5, put $30 in. And I just laughed too. Could you imagine the horror of a 7-year-old pumping gas today? People would start freaking, oh my God, you can't pump gas. I also rode a bike without a helmet my whole life. I did. I hit every mailbox on the street, but that was when mailboxes used to be on the street. Right now, the mailbox is some community mailbox. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So they don't even track this. So this fantasy 2% number. And of course, everyone loved it. Oh, yeah. Right? This mythical idea that these bankers, oh, yeah, we can control inflation. Well, they can't. They've never been able to control it. So now they created a formula that almost made it impossible to beat the 2%. You have to have 70-style inflation to go over that. Well, guess what? We're here. According to the New York survey, the number is almost 5%. I'd love it if it was only 5%. My wife told me what I paid in power list last month. I won't even tell you what it was. But according to my wife, because my wife pays the bills at my house, I have no idea. It was an all-time record. We've never paid so much for power ever. Ever. Well, and again, let's face it, it's been hot as you know what out there. But 5%. What are they doing about it? They told us, we got a target of 2. Well, my public school education tells me that's 2.5 times. That's 250% higher than what your target is. Well, use one of your magical powers to fix it. See, here's the problem, folks. You can't fix inflation with more debt. So unfortunately for all of us, the Fed has no tool for that. Well, they claim to. Well, we can raise rates and we could cut off the money supply. Crash the economy, right? And this is why you put gold away. You know I'm right. Doesn't matter. It's not a bad thing. Used to be able to, when I was 7 years old, I'd fill up my mom's Malibu with $5. Man, and heaven forbid. And these were the older pumps, you know. You squeezed it there at the $5. One time I got a little lax and got to 502 once. Man, my mom was mad. She had to find 2 pennies, you know. Now, my wife put in a whopping $30. We got 6 gallons of gas, you know. But let's not count that stuff. And this is why you put gold and silver away, because we're at this precipice now. Every tool they have is a debt tool. And more debt. Now, we could raise interest rates, right, to slow that down. Raising interest rates means people want to borrow less. Right? Mortgages go up and car loans go up, all these things go up. Of course, now the Fed's buying down mortgages, right? They've blown up this bubble. And now we're trapped. And they're clinging to, please go down. Please go down. Their fingers crossed, hoping, beyond hope, that it goes down. But read any economics book. when you create too much of something, and this is true in anything. Like I always said, farmers are the best economists because they get it. Right? Why are coffee prices skyrocketing? Well, there's no coffee, but the harvest was bad. People are now worried about the corn harvest because it's been so dry during pollination season. We get a bad corn harvest, what's going to happen? Price goes up. What happens if we have a great season? We got corn everywhere. What's going to happen to the bushel of corn? It's going to get a lot less because there's too much. That's what we have here. It's the same thing. We created way too much money. And now they know. Doesn't buy anything anymore. The average price of a new car, I mean, think about it. I don't even know what new car you can buy for under 40 grand. I'm sure there's some, there got to be. But if you want to, a nice F-150, not the base model, but decent, middle of the road F-150 is probably 50, 60 grand. Heaven forbid you want an Escalade, you got to probably drop a Husky. Yeah. We know how this game ends, folks. Have that gold and silver put away. I had a great special lined up. I haven't even said what it is, and it's already halfway sold out. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. I had 100. I now have 50. I have 50 AU $20 Liberties. For those of you that, what does that mean? $20 Liberty, it's a 1-ounce gold coin. Minted by the U.S. Mint. Why do we like U.S. minted material? Tax laws are better. Pretty simple. Plus the fact the U.S. Mint considers any pre-1933 gold to be a collectible. Very important. And the Liberty was minted between 1866 and 1907. AU means almost uncirculated, which is a fancy way of saying, hey, these coins are really nice looking. They're not graded, the higher end ones they grade them and encapsulate them. These are just below that, but they're really nice. And by really nice, they don't have as many coin marks. You got to remember back then when they used to mint them, they put them in a treasury bag, and all those burlap sacks, and stagecoach and horses, and they'd bounce around in the bag, and they'd get little coin, this little coin marks. Well, these ones have less. So chances are these are at the top of the bag, or maybe at the very, very bottom of the bag. I don't know how the science works on it all. But they got banged around less. And they didn't get what I like to call bag dust. That's really when you get like the VFXFs. They'll have this like a little black dust on it, and they've been on there for like 100 some odd years. You get it off, but it doesn't have it, so it's a really good looking coin. Our regular $20 Liberties, what we call our circulated $20 Liberties, are $2,130. You can get the 50 AUs I've got left. They're at 21 and a quarter, so $5 less, better quality. Hey, I love it, right? Perfect. 800-951-0592. And I said earlier, collectible. Why is that important? Well, we've confiscated gold once in this country, 1933. There was only one type of gold you could keep as a regular citizen here in the United States. That was collectible gold. So think about if it happened again. Your gold eagles and all of those things. Right? They got to go back. Your foreign gold, your gold bars. I don't know if they will or won't. We don't know. I don't know what the future holds. But as long as the cost is about the same, why not buy the collectible one? I think it makes great sense. And today, what a great deal to come back on. Been sick for, really been off the air for almost a little over a week now. What a great special to come back to. AU, which means almost uncirculated $20 Liberties at $2,125 at 800-951-0592. Because let's face it, listen, they're in a corner right now. Right? Their only hope is somehow a miracle happens and this transitory inflation goes away. And everybody is like, wait a minute, this thing looks like it's lasted for a whole lot longer than it was supposed to. And again, I don't know what that means. Of course it's supposed to. Look how much money they create. 800-951-0592. God bless everybody. I'll be back tomorrow.